Buenos dias and welcome to More Colombian Than an Arepa podcast. I'm Sam, your host.
And I am the other half, Nick.
Are you thinking about moving to Medellín but not sure where to live? Whether you want the bustling, amazing social scene or the peaceful mountain retreats or maybe a perfect mixture of both, we've got you covered. Today, we're breaking down the most popular neighborhoods for expats in Medellín, giving you all the details that you would not necessarily read about on a travel blog. So let's dive right in.
Let's get into it.
Okay, I think that we have us. Okay, first, before we dive right into it, I want to just say we're back.
We are back. We had a little hiatus.
We took a little break.
The start to the year was supposed to be not crazy and ended up being too crazy. But we're here now.
We had a lot of things happen in the beginning of the year. And if you're just tuning into More Colombian Than an Arepa podcast for the first time, we're Sam and Nick. We have a social media platform called Colombia Expats, which is probably where many of you know us from. But that social media talks about our life. We document our life, like our daily life here, all the things we're doing. And it's been a very crazy start to the year. We had some health issues with our puppy in January. And then
she's just went, now,
yeah, she's better. Then we just traveled like boom, 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 back to back to back. And in fact, we're going away again this weekend.
I know. It never stops.
But this is the year to travel Colombia for us. Last year, we didn't get to travel a whole lot because we were just kind of settling into life. And this year is travel. So we've been doing a lot of that lately. But we're back and we're excited. We've been wanting to record podcasts again. We love this channel and we're so grateful for you listening. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be, like I said, talking about neighborhoods here in Medellín.
Yeah, let's just dive right into that.
Let's do it. There are 6 neighborhoods that I have on the list, Nick, that we're going to go into. And there's very popular ones and then ones that are like up and coming and then like one that is a little bit further away, but we're finding tourists, or not tourists, but like expats that are living here more long term are making their way to. So let's first start off with the big, the infamous, the like probably most popular neighborhood in Medellín, El Poblado.
El Poblado.
That neighborhood is probably the neighborhood you read on all of the blogs.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Everything that you can think of with Medellín, you'll read about El Poblado. And there is one specific reason for that. And it is because of a little part of El Poblado called Provenza, which is definitely one of the most popular areas for tourists in Medellín.
High tourists.
Tourists and expats, though. There are a lot of people who live there.
I wouldn't say it's like if you're looking for like local culture and all that, maybe not Provenza, but it is a very, very, very fun place to be.
Yes.
Football games, soccer games.
It's great.
Having a beer with people, just walking through. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, it's a good time. And we will say like a lot of people, we're going to do a whole podcast on real estate in general, but Provenza is also a popular area for people to buy property as well.
Or to rent, like Airbnb.
Or to rent, yeah. So you can't go wrong with Provenza.
But also that area is not everyone's scene. So if you're not into like the loud party scene, maybe stay like a 5-minute walk or 10-minute walk.
Right. And we'll go into other areas that might be better for you. But in general, El Poblado is broken into these little like parts of town that I thought is the best way to go into like why this neighborhood is so popular for expats. So like Nick was saying, Provenza is a very popular place for expats who are here maybe more short term, maybe like 1 week to like maybe 2 months, and they like to party and they like to go out to nice restaurants every day. Like that's really what Provenza is all about in El Poblado. And I think that is, so if you fall into that category, then you're definitely going to want to look at places there. But I will say it's more expensive.
Yeah, so if you're looking up photos of Medellín, I'd say one of the most popular photos you'll see, like representing the city, is a photo of like the side of the valley with apartment buildings like poking out of the trees. Poblado is known for like skyscraper kind of buildings in the jungle, and it's amazing. So if you see a photo of Medellín online, it's probably of Poblado area.
Yeah.
But that does come with a lot of hills.
Yeah, a lot of hills. But Provenza has quite a bit of hills too.
Yeah.
You won't.
There's no escaping it. It feels like everywhere you go, it's always uphill.
Yeah.
And you'll think like, oh, I get to walk back down this? No. Somehow it's always uphill. But
it's always an uphill battle in Provenza, or in Poblado in general. Yeah. But Provenza has another like area really close to it called why am I blanking on the name? The one that's on the hills right next to Provenza.
La Linde?
La Linde. I don't know what's wrong with me right now.
So if you've been to Medellín, if you know where Click Clack Hotel is, this is the area that she's talking about.
Starting La Linde. And La Linde is like a very, very popular place for longer term like nomads who want to be close to Provenza.
Yeah, walking distance.
Walking like 5-10 minute walk into Provenza, but don't want to be in like the loudness and chaotic parts of Provenza. So La Linde also has amazing views of the city and usually has incredibly beautiful apartments, like modern apartments that are skyscrapers. You really can't go wrong with La Linde. And it was a place that we actually looked at when we were moving to Medellín. We were really interested in that like part of Poblado.
Yep.
Another part that I want to mention is Manila. Manila is up and coming.
One of our favorites for sure.
It's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
It's close to Provenza.
Yeah, I compare it to, if you're familiar with New York City and Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. Manila is like the Williamsburg of Medellín.
Yeah.
It's like a trendy coffee shops.
Not super touristy.
Yeah, not touristy. A lot of nomads.
Mm-hmm. Like longer term nomads.
Yeah, longer term nomads. A lot of fun places to go. Mm-hmm. There's a bao shop, so if you like baos,
yes,
that's your place.
Good craft breweries there. Lots of amazing rooftops in Manila, and maybe a business that we're starting. Wink, wink. Which we'll tell you more in the next episode.
Whoa. You're just gonna drop it like that?
I'm gonna drop it like
All
that.
right.
We're starting a food business over in Manila that will be starting in 1 week time when this comes out. But Manila is a great area. We love it.
Yeah, I would say the food prices are a bit higher, but it's not your typical Colombian food. Yeah. Like the type of restaurants that are there, so food prices will be a little bit higher. Manila, Provenza are going to have higher drink prices, I think, in general.
And apartment prices, like living.
And living in general, I think, because it's where everyone wants to be. Of course, it's going to be the most expensive.
Yeah. So Manila really has like a lot of co-working places, and the people that tend to stay in Manila are people that are here for less than 6 months, for sure. Like, it's not a super long-term stay area because it's still part of that like kind of party area. So and it's loud. Sure. Yeah. So definitely like keep that in mind if you're looking for places. Okay, now let's move to Tesoro.
But I will say, if you are a party person, this is the best place for you because Colombians are not morning people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like nothing starts very early. Like businesses don't open super early. So if you're not a morning person, this is your place.
A good country for you. Okay, let's move to Tesoro.
Okay, Tesoro. Actually, I think that's probably the most expensive.
It could be,
right?
Yeah. I bet it's the most
expensive. So
Tesoro
is on, like I said earlier, Poblado is kind of like on the side of the mountain in the jungle, and Tesoro is on the top. So Tesoro, you have the best views. I mean, the best of the best. Really nice mall up there.
Beautiful apartments.
Very nice. So definitely going to be paying a premium up in Tesoro, but not a very walkable area. So if you like to walk to places, probably not for you. Mm-hmm. You can walk, down the street, but nothing.
Super easy to Uber though, because it's still very central.
Yeah. And Tesoro, it's easy to get anywhere, like with the Uber or whatever. But definitely most expensive.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's worth it, and you can find views, unbelievable apartments there. Yeah,
like views of the whole entire valley, kind of views.
Like it's a good place if you're like not working or maybe you're working remotely and all you're really interested in is like beautiful views and like going out to eat and maybe like going to do tours and stuff, but you're not like you're not a very busy person because it is hard to get around there, like besides Uber.
Yeah. And if you're looking for like a more luxury style place, I think that would be a good place to start.
Another part of El Poblado, and then we're going to move to a different neighborhood, that we have seen growing and a very popular area for people who are longer term nomads is Milla de Oro. And the Golden Mile is very close to Provenza. but it's also very close to Santa Fe Mall. So you're literally in walking distance from all the big grocery stores. You're close to like everything essentially in Milla de Oro. And you're not in Provenza, but you're like a 15-minute walk from Provenza, and prices are definitely a little bit lower in Milla de Oro than they are in those other neighborhood or other parts of Poblado that we're talking about.
Yeah. Also, if you've never been to Medellín, Santa Fe Mall, you just have to experience it.
Yeah.
Mall culture here is so big, and it's a huge mall, and it makes you understand, I feel like, Colombian culture in a way.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a popular thing. Like, we say it's a mall, but you go. You actually do go.
And some really good food is at the mall.
Yes.
I would say in the U.S., that's usually actually never the case. But here in Colombia, if you want some good típica comida,
yeah, it's
go
great.
to the mall.
It's an amazing area, and we're seeing people more and more go to this area that are longer term nomads too. Like we're hearing people, we're hearing people that are staying for a year, 2 years in Milla de Oro, because it's just that it's so centrally located and it's
easy
just
to get anywhere.
A little bit cheaper than the other parts of town. Yep. Okay, those are the 4 like parts of Poblado I wanted to talk about, because those are maybe the most popular areas within Poblado, since it ranges, is a huge area. But let's now move on to Laureles.
Okay.
So Laureles is in the valley, like it's in the flat part.
Yeah,
of
Medellín. Not as lush with greenery. I mean, there definitely is.
So beautiful.
There's still a lot of green, but the highways, what do you call them? I can't think
boulevards.
of the word. Boulevards, there we go. They're much bigger than in Poblado. They're not as big. So in Laureles, because it's flatter, more open, the streets are bigger.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a very different.
It's a walkable. It's
very
a walkable
walkable
part of town.
Yeah, you can, if you rent like an Airbnb there, you can walk to anywhere you need to go.
It's beautiful. You don't see as
without
many...
having to like feeling like you're exercising.
Yeah. You're not like walking on a 14% incline hill like you are in Poblado, but you're not seeing like the huge buildings, like the huge apartment buildings. You're seeing like more traditional homes, like Colombian homes, where they have like 3 floors, 3 or 4 floors, and you're renting an apartment, which is a more traditional kind of thing. You're seeing there, what we've noticed with Laureles is that there are a ton of long-term nomads, people who move here permanently, many times move to Laureles.
I would say they prefer Laureles.
Yeah, because it's less touristy.
If you were to ask, I would bet money on, if you were to ask any long-term nomad here, they would probably choose Laureles over Poblado.
Yeah.
Probably mainly because it's more walkable and bikeable, because there are bike lanes and stuff like that. And there's so much over there. I mean, honestly, like, we love living in El Poblado. We love it here because we love the views, and it's just so stunning. Like, it's just remarkably beautiful in the hills. But Laureles is a place that if we were to ever look within the city, we would probably look at Laureles next, because it is really beautiful, and there's so much more, I think, to do over there for long-term nomads than over in Poblado. Yeah, our favorite park is over there. Our favorite, like where we get our haircut, is over there. It just seems like we're like finding things that we go to frequently in there in Laureles. And
a lot of like festivals and events and stuff, they all happen in Laureles. Yeah. And like there are tons of co-working, there's tons of coffee shops. We love to tell people to go on a coffee crawl throughout Laureles because it has the best coffee shops. Maybe we'll do a whole podcast on that. But it's beautiful, it's walkable, it's not as touristy. There's tons to do, tons to see. And it's just a great area, don't you think?
Yeah. Highly recommend, especially if you have a family. I would say if you have a family.
Or if you're retired.
That's probably, you're just going to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Everyone's so nice. It feels very neighborhoody.
Yeah, it does. That's a good way to put it. It's
kind of like Brooklyn.
Yeah, it kind of is.
It's the Brooklyn of
it's
Medellín.
Like Greenpoint, or like, it's like, it feels like a neighborhood there. It's really cool. And you'll see, like, you'll meet a lot of people there. Like, if you're planning on living here for a long time, Laureles is where you're going to meet people living here for a long time. And we've done a whole podcast on it. It's actually really hard to find friends in many ways here because so many people are transient in Medellín, so they leave after like 2 months. So if you're here and you're living here and you're wanting to meet friends that live here so that you can actually have long-term friends here, that's an amazing neighborhood for you.
Yeah. And pro tip, if you're going to be visiting one of the other El Poblado or Laureles, don't go in the morning or in like from 4 to 7 p.m. because the traffic is absolutely insane. Like 15-minute drive, what it normally is, turns into 45 minutes or an hour.
Easily. So
you don't want to sit in the car for an hour, definitely take that into consideration.
I will say too, as far as pricing in Laureles goes, it's not that much less expensive than El Poblado in Laureles. Because it is becoming more and more popular.
It's just a different quality of life.
Yeah, so you're still not paying. It's not the cheapest area to live in. No. Like if budget is a big part for you, like that's not. It's a little bit less expensive than El Poblado, but not the cheapest area.
So since we're talking about neighborhoods, how taxes work here? They're called estrados, and they're from 1 to 6. 6 being the wealthiest, and 1 being the most impoverished. Is that even a word? Impoverished. And so there are only 2 6s inside of Medellín. It's Poblado and Laureles. So everything is just expensive and more expensive in general because things like internet and just whatever, you just pay more. But
those are definitely those are the most expensive neighborhoods.
Yeah. So if you're looking for if you have a budget you need to look at, think about that when you're looking for apartments. Maybe ask a realtor or someone if they know an Estrado 5 because your rent will be a lot less.
Yeah.
So something to consider.
Yeah, that's a good.
Because there are 5s around the 6s. I don't know where they are personally.
Yeah.
So maybe have someone.
I think Belen is close to.
Belen is amazing.
Belen is that's coming up. We're not there. We're not there yet.
It's coming up.
The next neighborhood is Envigado. Envigado is the 3rd most popular neighborhood for foreigners here in Colombia. And technically, it's not a neighborhood. Technically, Envigado is a municipality, which means it has its own governing powers. So it's like its own city next to Medellín. But
it's like right outside. If you're, for example, if you're staying in El Poblado, 10-minute drive without traffic.
And you know how we were talking about Santa Fe Mall in Milla de Oro in El Poblado? If you walked from Santa Fe Mall to Envigado, it'd probably be a 20-minute walk.
Yeah,
like
20-30 minutes.
It's so close. Like it's so close, which is why so many people like it because they have access into Poblado where there's tons of things, but they're far enough away where the prices are a little bit less. It's one of the safest neighborhoods in Medellín, and you can get still so much in Envigado, and especially if you're here wanting to have a more like cultural experience, there's still so much authenticity in Envigado, and you can really get that local feel and make local friends a little bit easier there than you would in Poblado and Laureles. Not that you can't find Colombianos that live in those areas. Like in our building, we're the only gringos that live in our building. So like there are Colombianos all that are super friendly and wonderful in all of these neighborhoods. But if you want a more like traditional feel, Envigado is a good like balance between the two, where you can find foreigners and still have that local feel to it. So it's good for Spanish practice. And there's still a ton. Like there's still a ton of food.
Oh, there's some beautiful houses out there.
Yeah, oh my gosh. There's also, that's a good point. There are high-rise buildings in Envigado.
Yeah, it's like a mix. That's a good point too. It's like a good mix of the high-rise buildings and like
beautiful homes.
Yeah, like Laureles and Poblado kind of mixed together.
Yeah. And there's tons of places you can find out there. Like lots of amazing options that look and feel the exact same as El Poblado, but are like half the price. They're great.
But you gotta I feel like you gotta know somebody that knows those areas, because it's not like they have neighborhoods within that.
Yeah.
So you just have to know people that know the area.
And Envigado Park, the main park in Envigado, is one of our most favorite places.
Christmas time. If you're here during Christmas time, I think we did a podcast on that. You're have lucky. To go to Envigado, Parque Principal in Envigado at Christmas time. Thank me later.
Thank me later. Okay, now let's move to the fourth neighborhood, Sabaneta. Sabaneta is, again, not a neighborhood. It's a municipality that's just south of Envigado and is about maybe 20 to 30-minute drive from El Poblado. But there's also a metro that will take you from El Poblado to Sabaneta, so you can access it super easy by bus or public transportation. And it is becoming more popular. To be honest, it's our favorite part of town.
Yeah, we see ourselves going there frequently to eat, to hang out.
It's
Sabaneta is amazing, yeah.
I feel like we're always finding gems there too. Like it's like restaurant
Probably
gems.
Like 30-minute drive. To put it in perspective, people have never been here. It's like 30-minute drive from Poblado to Sabaneta.
Yes. And the apartments there are drastically less expensive.
Yes.
They are beautiful.
Probably the most authentic, local feeling place that you'll go.
Like if you want to just be speaking Spanish and like really immersing yourself into the culture, Sabaneta is an amazing place for you to go. And we love it. Like the restaurants there, it's some of the best food in the city, we think.
Yeah.
Like it's just so great.
That's why you need to follow and listen to us, because we tell you all the good spots.
At Colombia_expats.
Yes.
No shame.
We just went to a new place there that just opened up, and maybe we'll link the video somewhere because it was very delicious.
It was so good.
Highly recommend.
Okay, so... But Sabaneta is amazing. It's a lot less expensive. It's up and coming, but still very much authentic. And there's so much opportunity there if you want to practice your Spanish and just be immersed into this beautiful culture here. It's very close to another small town I'm just going to briefly mention called Itagüí. Itagüí is very close to Sabaneta and has a very similar, like, amazing vibe. They have, that's also starting to get a little bit bigger slowly, but
we met these Germans that there's like a German population happening out there. So I guess if you're German and you want to be with other German expats, then Itagüí is for you.
Is where to go. Okay, going back to Laureles, next to Laureles, a neighborhood called Belen. Mm-hmm. Belen is definitely up and coming.
Yeah, this is like a neighborhood, like if you wanted to invest in real estate, Belen, I mean, don't take my word for it, but like that's... And if I were to put my money somewhere, I think Belen is where it's at right now. It's going to be the next like
Laureles.
Manila.
Yeah.
Laureles. It's amazing neighborhoods.
It's amazing. And they're really a neighborhood feel.
Yeah.
And prices are still very reasonable.
Very walkable, flat, like Laureles, lush.
Yes.
Nice houses.
Yeah. Again, you get that traditional feel to it, but you're close to Laureles if you want like the co-working and coffee shops and all of that. It's so close and it's amazing. Okay, finally, this one might surprise you, babe, but finally is the last neighborhood is big for people who A, might have a lot of money, and B, might be interested in like super luxury, beautiful homes and beautiful places, is a neighborhood, kind of like a neighborhood called Las Palmas.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised you threw that in there.
I know, but we're seeing so many people move out there.
That's our dream place to live. So if anyone
wants
to donate millions of dollars to us, like USD millions of dollars, please.
Or if you want to help us get a winning lottery ticket,
I'm okay with a winning lottery ticket too. I mean, whatever floats your boat.
We keep seeing, so Las Palmas is at the top of the hill.
Insanely beautiful houses.
Yeah, it's at the top. So where Poblado is on the hill, and if you go all the way up that hill, that's where Las Palmas is, and
then over the top.
And over the top, yeah. But you get the most incredible luxury homes.
Yeah, I mean it's
you can
not
find
removed from Medellín because it's probably 20 minutes
drive.
Without traffic. So like driving to Envigado or Sabaneta.
Yeah.
But it's literally up the mountain, so you got to climb the mountain. But the views are insane. The houses are insane. Beautiful gated communities.
So,
it's unreal.
Yeah.
You know, we accidentally drove through it one day and didn't even know that existed. So now we're like, how do we do this?
How do we get there?
Please help us get there.
So if you're looking for like a baller house, like 10,000 square foot house to rent.
But you do need a car.
You do need a car or a motorcycle.
I would say there's no They're probably a bus, but if you can afford to go out there, I don't think you're waiting for the bus.
Yeah, you should have a car for sure.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, and I'm mentioning it because we are seeing people like starting to make their way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not any of our friends because I
would like
wish.
to be friends with you though. So if you're listening and you want to be friends,
if you're listening and you're moving there, we'll bring the beer.
I'll bring some wine and beer.
I think that's a great idea because that would be so wonderful. I really want to meet someone who has an amazing home out there just so I can experience it.
But about Palmas, there's no you just don't walk outside your house and go walk down the street to the coffee shop. It's like a suburban feel. Houses are far apart. You can find farms and fincas out there and other places, but Palmas is where the real luxuries come in.
And it gets really cold at night there.
And I love it.
And hot during the day.
Because in the valley, like in Laureles, I'd say it gets a little more warm than in Poblado. But in general, in Medellín, it's the same temperature. It's like
except for Las Palmas.
It ranges cold. Maybe 5 degrees Celsius throughout the year. But in Palmas, it gets cold at night, warm during the day. I love that. I love it.
Okay, so...
I'm surprised you didn't bring up San Diego.
Well, there are so many other neighborhoods that we could talk about, like San Diego, like Itagüí, even San Lucas, like all of these other neighborhoods. But I would say in general, those are the most popular neighborhoods for foreigners right now. And that could change in a year. So maybe we'll have to redo one of these podcasts in a year.
And if you're wondering why we didn't bring up El Centro or any in the neighborhoods in that area like Manrique, we're just not familiar with it, and I don't think tourists, maybe safety might be a thing because we've heard that you don't go there after night and all that, or after dark. But it is a fun place to visit. 110 out of 10 recommend. Do a bike tour. I mean, it's so much fun. So
we have
it's a crazy place.
We have a 3, 4, and 5 day itinerary podcast coming out, and it will talk about when to go into those areas and stuff and how to get in there. And if you're more comfortable going with the tour, we'll talk about all of that because you have to go visit El Centro. It's literally the best. We love it.
It's really, really cool.
But that's the neighborhoods that are most popular for foreigners in Medellín.
It's a good start. So if you're researching where to go, where to stay, this is definitely a good start.
Yeah. And if you have any questions about specific neighborhoods, just leave them in the comments. We're happy to answer all of your questions about anything, moving to Colombia, living here, maybe spending even a month or so here. Yeah. We're so happy to help wherever we can. So just drop us a comment. Share this with anyone that you might know that's interested in coming out to Medellín.
And if you love Medellín so much, you're like, man, I really have to live here, but I don't know how to do it. We built a course on how to live here, on how to move here.
Yes.
So we're going to put all that in the description. So if you're interested in learning to move here, on how to do it, we got you covered. We got your back.
We learned a lot so that you don't have to.
Exactly. That should be our motto.
I know.
We went through a lot, so you don't have to.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for listening. Like I said, go follow us over on our social medias at More Colombian Than Arepa. If you want to follow us on our personal account at Colombia_expats, that's where we document our life, our daily life over there. I think it's kind of fun. So go check us out over on that. We're on Instagram, TikTok.
Oh, that sounds kind of good right now.
TikTok, Facebook,
TikTok.
YouTube, all the things. So go check us out. But thank you so much for listening. And until next time, hasta pronto.